Hello, my name is Habiybah Washington, and today I'm here to put on record the truth behind all of the lies brought up in the case against Malachi York. I'm going to start off by saying that I'm not being forced, threatened, coerced, or pressured to do this tape. I am also going to state that, as you can tell, I'm not under any kind of influence, alcohol or drug. I want to begin with all of the events that led up to the final verdict in the case against Malachi. I want to start off with how it started, where it started, when, and the reason why. I left the community in February of 2001. I moved from Georgia and I went to New York and lived with my family. In about March of 2001, I was contacted by Jacob. Jacob is the son of Malachi York. He's also an ex-member. Jacob contacted me, and our conversation was basically about the good times that we had in the community, what we went through, how we grew up, just making up for old times. 2 months after that, Jacob called me. This was in May. Jacob called me about a trip to Florida. A trip where a lot of some of the girls and boys that were going down, ex-members that were going to go down to Florida just to hang out, to have fun, or whatever. I agreed to go on the trip. I told Jacob that I would come on the trip. I left from New York, went to Georgia. We all met up at Jacob's house. It was me, Jacob, Nicole Lopez, Noah Rashid, East, Esther, probably some other girls and boys that I don't remember. Before we actually went down to Florida, I had a conversation with Jacob outside of his house, and Jacob brought up some feelings that he had about his father. Jacob was really upset with his father. He stated that he hated his father, that he felt that his father doesn't need to be alive, that he shouldn't even be given life. He felt that his father needs to just rot in jail. Jacob wanted all of us meaning me, Nicole, Karima. He was talking to a couple of people, different people that left the community. He wanted us to bring a case against his father. Jacob told me that some of the girls and boys that left the community had went to the government about different things that was going on in the community, meaning child molestation. Before I left the community, I was the main person in charge of the finances, as well as in charge of anything that went on with the community, the living, eating, anything, the financial, anything that happened regarding any of the members in the community. I dealt with that, so I was basically in charge. Jacob told me that the FBI knew who I was, and that they were told about certain things that I've done in the community, and some of those things I can be incriminated for. Jacob told me that if I don't go to the FBI first, then they would come after me, they would incarcerate me, they would take my children away from me, because there are things that they were told about me that could incriminate me. Jacob brought up the fact that I had a son by his father at 17 years old. I told Jacob that my son with his father was never, it never came about because I was forced to have sex with his father. Yes, I was 17 years old, and yes, I did agree to having a child with his father at that age. I understood my age, I understood his age. I didn't see anything wrong with it. I consented to it. So I told Jacob that that's the way that I felt. I didn't feel that anything wrong happened, that we both agreed to it. I felt that I was an adult, it was my decision, and I went with it. But Jacob proceeded to say that there were some things that some of the other members, some of the other ex-members had went to the government with, and that I should really, really talk to them and see what's up and see how I can clear my name so that I'm not prosecuted for any of those things. We all went to Florida after that conversation, and during our trip to Florida we had several conversations in the car with Jacob. It was some other boys that were there, and Jacob started talking about going on the land and taking some of the kids, just kidnapping some of the children off the land. He was talking about my sister. My sister was still there. My youngest sister Isla was still there, and he wanted us to just go up there and just take her and take some of the other little girls and boys off the land, because he didn't feel that they should be living on the land with his father. But we had all agreed that that was not going to happen. You know, none of us was interested in going up on the land and kidnapping anybody. So Jacob said, well, then we can just do it the legal way. So I went to the FBI the following day. They called Jacob at first. I sat in the car. Jacob talked with them. I don't know what the conversation was about, because I wasn't in the room and I wasn't told what the conversation was about. But Jacob went up there and he talked to them, and then about an hour later they called me up. I stated my name, I stated who I was. They asked me about different children, they called out different names like Amala and Crystal, and I told them, you know, I knew those children, I knew whatever names they brought out. If I knew the person, I told them I knew the person. They told me about, they asked me to state my life and the reasons why I left and the reason why I was there. I told them about life in the community, growing up, why we left. I was questioned about the money charges, the money situation, because I did deal with the financial situation. I told them how we ran our finances. I ran off, different people that I knew that was there, different people that I knew that had left, and why they left. They asked me about certain children. They asked me about certain stories that they were told. And I told them that, yeah, I went along with the story. I told them that, yes, I did do these things. I felt that I had to tell them that yes, because I was told that they already knew, and there was no way for me to deny anything that didn't happen or anything that did happen. I had to tell them what I felt that they knew, because I felt that, like Jacob told me, they already knew the story, and there was no way that I can say that it didn't happen. I would have to prosecute myself to make whatever was said against his father, make it more real, make it sound more believable. If we all prosecuted ourselves, then whatever we say about Malachi would be believable. That interview ended by them asking me different people that I knew that would want to talk, different members that I knew that would want to assist them in the case. The only names that I knew were other members that I knew that were disgruntled. Like Nicole had her own issues with Malachi, Karima had her own issues with Malachi, Sakina also, Amala, Crystal, different people that I knew that had issues against him. I gave them those names. They asked me about different children, they called out different names like Amala and Crystal, and I told them, I knew those children, I knew whatever names they brought out. If I knew the person, I told them I knew the person. The question next would be, why did I go ahead with the story? Why did I never take it back? Why didn't I ever, just tell the truth at that time? I felt really pressured to go along with the story. I felt that I had to go along with the story. We all kind of called each other and was backing up each other's story. If Nicole did an interview with the FBI, then she would call us and we would back up her story. So if Nicole spoke to them, then she would call us. So in case they call me, then I can back up whatever Nicole was saying. And that's kind of how we did it. We all just called each other and said, yeah, I said this, and that way we can back each other up, make the story sound more, real, make it sound more believable. If we all back each other up, it can make it sound more believable. I was afraid that my initial interview that I had given a statement, I was afraid that if I was to take that back, I did not know if I was going to be prosecuted. It's not like I had an attorney to represent me. I did not have my personal attorney to tell me, to explain to me what the steps were, what the charges were, what the immunity really meant. What I believed the immunity to mean was that I would be protected. Anything that I would say on the witness stand that could be used against me, anything that I would say that could be used against me, I would be protected from that. That's what I understood my immunity to mean. I was never explained in detail what the agreement was about, what the immunity was about. That was the gist of what I understood it was about. So at the time I went through with the story because I was afraid for my life. I was afraid that they could take me to jail, that I could be incarcerated, that my children would be taken away from me. And it was different times during the 2-year process that I spoke to different FBI agents. I spoke to Joan, I spoke to Jelaine, I spoke to Tracy from the Sheriff Department, and there was on a couple occasions where they did remind me that, you know, Habiybah, you can be incriminated for certain things that you're about to say as well. So being reminded of that, I felt compelled to just go ahead with the story. I didn't want to change my story at that time. I didn't want to break the agreement because I was told that by breaking the agreement meant that I would be incarcerated and I would be prosecuted because I've given statements already. And like I said, I wasn't represented by a personal attorney. The prosecution had an attorney that represented all of the witnesses and all of the victims, but I was not represented by a personal attorney. So I didn't really know my rights. I didn't really know what the laws. I didn't know what I could do, what I can't do. So I felt compelled to just go ahead with the story that everybody else was telling. Why I want to come out with the truth now? It's really, really important for me to come out with the truth now because I don't sleep at night knowing that 2 people are spending their lives in jail as I speak because of statements that a bunch of ex-disgruntled members came out with. I feel totally guilty for bringing this case against Malachi. I don't feel that it's right that he is in jail right now because all of us were angry and we all got together and agreed to this case, and we went ahead with it, and now he's facing life in jail for it. It's not right. It's not fair for anybody to be prosecuted because of somebody else's personal reasons. I don't think that he should be incarcerated because of that. If we all did have issues against him, then that's human nature. But nobody should be sent to jail because of a bunch of lies. And what was said on that stand were a bunch of lies. Jacob had, at different points in time, was questioning us about, well, what about this boy? Well, what about this girl? what do you think he's going to say? What do you think she's going to say? Did you ever see anything happen with this girl? And I would always tell Jacob, I've never seen anything happen with this boy or this girl.